We're starting a 24-hour news channel.
I'm gonna do the thing that God put Ron Burgundy on this earth to do. Have salon-quality hair and read the news.
The news team is back!
Is that your foot between my legs?
No.
It was my hand.
Your hair looks like wet popcorn.
I like the parts of your face that are covered with skin.
I'm breaking down the barriers of race by assimilation.
Am I right? Say what?
Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues.
Good evening, YouTube. This is the Universal Critic, bringing you the news at whatever time I get around to uploading this video. It was 10 years ago that audiences were first introduced to the man, nay, the legend, that was Ron Burgundy, the pinnacle of Will Ferrell's long line of man-child characters. Today I am reviewing the character's triumphant return, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. Set in the early 1980s, Anchorman 2 picks up with Burgundy, played again by Will Ferrell, losing his job to his wife Veronica, played by Christina Applegate, which leads to the couple separating. Disgraced and alone, Burgundy falls into depression for a spell, but his spirit is revived when he is offered a job to anchor the first ever 24-hour news network, GNN. Joined by his old friends Champ Kind, played by David Koechner, Brian Fantana, played by Paul Rudd, and Brick Tamblyn, played by Steve Carell, Burgundy is in for a hell of a ride, one that I find every bit as funny as the original. What really makes this movie work is that it gives us what we loved from the original, but bigger and better, without feeling rehashed, unlike other sequels to great comedies. This is not only that the story is different from the original, but in that it creates new and funny characters as well. The best example of this is probably Kristen Wiig, who plays Brick's equally dim-witted love interest Shawnee. The chemistry between the two of them is so funny I can't possibly do it justice in this review. Equally hilarious is James Marsden as Rick Lime, Burgundy's new rival. While he does fill a similar role to Vince Vaughn's character from the original, he manages to create a new spin on it, coming off as a smug jerk who gets everything he wants, whereas Vaughn was more of a loser whose head was way too big for his shoulders. As I said earlier, the film does recycle a lot of elements from the original, notably Burgundy's awkward attempts to adapt to social change. In the first film, it was women in the workplace. In the sequel, it's more about the increased presence of minorities in the workplace. This is especially present in Burgundy's interactions with his African-American boss, Linda Jackson, played by Megan Good. Burgundy is a touch uncomfortable with this, yes, but it is not played as overt racism, but instead as well-meaning stupidity. This makes Burgundy's antics and malaprops much more likable rather than offensive or painful. Though the news network portrayed in this film is a fairly transparent swipe at Fox News, it is not in any way a political satire. Don't get me wrong, the similarities to Fox News are undeniable, notably that the exaggeration of events to get ratings and being founded by an Australian businessman. But the network itself never at any point spouts any sort of political ideology, right-wing or otherwise. This keeps the social satire vague enough to work on its own terms, even if the viewer is unfamiliar with the topic it is satirizing. Overall, I give Anchorman 2 a high big screen rating. While I admit it really didn't need to exist, it is still a hilarious sequel to a hilarious film, and it will almost certainly attain the cult status of its predecessor. I'm the Universal Critic, and you stay classy, YouTube.